Hello everyone, Shinto Bean here with some more Warhammer combat cards. In this video, I'm going to be covering 3 matches I played in a PvP tournament organized by a player named Larkin. There are 16 players participating in this tournament, and it's just a friendly competition to see who is the best of all. Currently, PvP can only be played within clans, so these are taking place in Mad Imp's arena, which is serving as a battleground for this tournament. So I recorded these matches as I was playing them, and now I'm going back and adding commentary. This is the very first match of the first round. It's best 2 out of 3 matches. Whoever wins gets to move on to the next stage. And I was assigned to play against a player named Morgile. My warlord is Malogathrox the Foul. He is using Logan Grimnar, and the very first bodyguard he deploys is Belial, a level 7 legendary. That is the max level. And so I can tell right off the bat that this guy is way out of my league, but I'm just going to give it my best shot and see what I can do. So I'm trying to make use of Malogathrox's special rule by throwing down some weak units that can reduce the damage of his stronger units as they die off. The second card that he deployed there is Njal Stormcaller, a very powerful Psyker, and he has it at level 6, I believe. There you can see massive amounts of damage it's able to deal. So I threw down a little Bloodletter there, and Belial has Inspiring Presence for his trait, so he is increasing the attack power of all of his units on the field. He's got a Deathwing Terminator that just deployed, and I'm just throwing down another fodder unit, the Pink Horror, which has Endless, and they have the initiative, so he got to take the first turn, and you can see that Psionic Blast dealing a tremendous amount of damage on that first turn. Of course, PvP takes a little bit more time to get through. You can see the Warlord right there at level 6. A very powerful version of Logan Grimnar. He is going for melee, so we'll be able to see that cleaving attack go through there. As he destroys my units, any excess damage gets passed on to the second lane, to the adjacent lane. And so I've got a little bit of those debuffs hitting the enemies. And I think what I tried to do here was to throw more of those fodder units across from Stormcaller. I put down the Helldrake across from Belial. The Helldrake is one of my stronger ranged units. It has Fear, able to deal a lot of damage. We've got Volgrar Thrice Cursed in the center lane. He's got an okay ranged attack and a decently powerful melee. He's able to regenerate at the end of each turn. The game speed, I did increase it a little bit so I can better get through all these games in one sitting. So it's going a little bit faster than normal. Of course, PvP matches do take a little bit longer than when playing against AI, because you have to wait for your opponent to take their turn, to decide which attack to do and also which unit to deploy. Here they're going for a powerful psychic attack, and Njal got hit by another little bit of Nurgle's Rot, and I threw down yet another fodder unit across from it. So I was trying to weaken the Psyker, but that was actually, I think, the wrong choice, looking at it in retrospect, because the thing about things with Psionic Blast is they're just able to deal so much damage the longer they're on the field. Every single turn you can see all the damage that he's dealing. It's a little bit less each time because its damage is getting reduced, but it's still so much damage. I think I really should have put the Helldrake across from Stormcaller to try to take him down a little bit faster. So now they're going for a melee attack, and once again the cleave going through there. But Volgrar and his bulky body manages to stop that attack in his tracks, but he's very low on health. And I think at this point, was this when I decided to put down my other big ranged unit? Let's see, he is going with Ragnar Blackmane in the center lane, a very powerful berserker, as you can see. And I only have 2 bodyguards left here, so yeah, I just threw down the Forge Fiend. Unfortunately, none of the units he has on the field are 40 points or more, so the Forge Fiend is unable to deal any additional damage from its Big Game Hunter trait. The Helldrake does take down Belial there, and I deal a lot of damage to Stormcaller, but it's not enough, and he's going to be able to get yet another Psionic Blast in. And Blackmane, I mean, the thing about Berserkers is they are able to gain damage over time, so that actually kind of counteracts the debuff from Nurgle's Rot. Nurgle's Rot isn't really all that effective against Berserkers, I think. So once again, it is their turn. We're waiting to see what they go for. Another melee attack. So a big cleave hitting the Helldrake. And Blackmane gets the debuff there. But I only have 2 units remaining. Just a lowly little Poxwalker there. It has Endless, so it can respawn the first time it dies. And I go for the ranged attack, but again, the Forge Fiend unable to destroy Null Stormcaller. I think that was actually because of the healing from the Apothecary that deployed there last turn. So here on their turn, I think he is debating whether to go for a Psychic attack or a melee attack. And I think he ends up going for the melee, which is able to cleave through my units once again. And there it is. So the Helldrake was very low on health, so it's able to be destroyed by that very weak Apothecary. The Forge Fiend does survive. You can see the damage from Null Stormcaller is greatly reduced. But the Forge Fiend, unfortunately, unable to destroy him with its very weak melee counterattack. Now I'm deploying my Warlord, Malogathrox, to the field. And you can see the Fear reducing the damage of Blackmane by 50%. It's quite good. Able to debuff their attacks, and it's a massive kind of waste of the Forge Fiend's firepower, throwing 104 damage at the 6 remaining health on the Psyker. And he has just 1 bodyguard remaining here. Let's see what it is. And he's shifting his units over to deploy that Assault Marine, which is targeting my Poxwalker. And once again, that thing will be able to cleave over into the Warlord. Not much damage to Malogathrox this turn, although Blackmane is able to take down the Forge Fiend. Malogathrox attacks back, taking down the Apothecary, and now their level 6 legendary Logan Grimnar is deploying to the field. So his damage is cut in half, but that Furious Charge hitting, and I just went for the melee because at this point, I mean, there's no way I'm getting through 308 health on that Warlord. So a very resounding defeat in the first match of this tournament. So I decided to try to go for a stronger build for the second game using one of my better Warlords, and so I went with Boss Snikrot, who has worked very well for me in the campaign and in ranked mode alike, so I thought I might have a decent chance with him here. The enemy chose Dark Strider, and right there, a level 6 legendary Barracuda deploying to the field. So in this match, I really wanted to make use of Snikrot's special rule, especially by using the target acquired keyword to focus down the enemy's big units. That is what he excels at, and he has some very big units indeed. That is another level 6 legendary Long Strike, extremely powerful unit, especially with Dark Strider. I don't even have Long Strike in my collection, but this is one great way to use him, that's for sure. So I did not have a very good starting hand here, as you can see, and he's deployed a stealth drone to the field. That thing has taunt, and so I put down my own taunt unit over here. I think we actually had the same initiative here, but they Morgile got to take the first turn, and so that's a huge amount of range damage coming at me right off the bat, destroying 2 of my ranged units easily. The Bubble Chucker returns fire, dealing a little bit of damage here, and this is where I made my huge mistake. So I wanted to try to focus down one of those big units, either the Barracuda or Long Strike. I decided to place my unit with target acquired over on the right lane to try to target down Long Strike, but for some reason my brain malfunctioned and I deployed the Docket Jet over in the left lane right across from the unit with taunt. So if that taunt unit was not there, I would have been able to fire directly on long strike, but because of the taunt, that thing can really mess up target acquired. So after I deployed the Dakajet, I realized my mistake, but it was too late. The damage had been done, so I just went for the ranged attack. It was terrible though. The damage from the mech gun was doubled, so it dealt a decent amount of damage to long strike, but that retaliation just obliterated my attack, and then he was able to deploy a unit and make use of Dark Strider's special rule, shifting his cards over, so both of those are able to fire for 50% of their damage right at the Dakajet, almost taking that thing out of action before the turn even starts, and it is his turn. So, not looking good at all. I put down my other target acquired unit, but that you will see that was a pretty big mistake as well. Although at this point I think there's really no recovery from that misdeployment of the Dakajet. So now we've got two separate things being hit by the target acquired as well as taunt. So I mean, it all cancels each other out. They might as well not even be targeting anything specific, because yeah, it's just the worst possible scenario that you could get with Snikrot. The Dakajet does survive. It's able to attack back this turn, but its damage is greatly reduced from the taunt, so it's not even able to kill that guy, and I only have one bodyguard remaining, Ed Zappa, and I'm just like, what do I even do at this point? So I put him down over on the left to deploy my Warlord, Snikrot, and I only have just a slight ranged, not ranged, but psychic attack charge up. You can see the Sonic Blast going off there, but it's not even able to kill the thing with taunt, and it's only able to hit the Barracuda in the opposite lane. So this was a pretty embarrassingly bad battle. In fact, I'm not exaggerating in saying that it is the worst battle I've ever played as Boss Snikrot by far. I mean, that was not even close. Yeah, and I managed to take down one more bodyguard there, the guy with taunt. I think once again we'll see his units getting that free attack in, firing off their payloads, and the Barracuda destroying Snikrot before the turn even started. I think the game kind of glitched here because he is dead, but the game is not ending. Maybe there's some kind of connection error or something, but there he goes, blows up, and that was a horrible defeat. Only 2 bodyguards I was able to destroy. So I think Snikrot, I learned here, is actually a little bit harder to use in PvP. He has the potential to be very strong, but taunt and stuff can really mess him up as well. So moving on to match 3, this is the final match. I already lost the first 2, but Morgai was kind enough to let me play a 3rd game. This time I decided to use Artemis. And I was talking to Morgai beforehand, and he was saying that Watch Captain Artemis is actually one of his least favorite warlords to play against. So I obliged and chose Artemis for my 3rd match, just to see if I could do something, because nothing else I was doing was working against this guy. And he deployed a healer here. He's using Zandrek for his warlord. Now you don't want to put healer down like that on the first turn, but afterwards I was talking to him, and he said that his opening hand was actually really terrible. He had 2 healers and then one really big unit, which you don't want to put down at the beginning when you're facing Watch Captain Artemis because of his special rule. I don't actually use Artemis a whole lot in ranked, but I hear that he is very strong in the top tiers of ranked mode. His special rule is percentage based, so it's just able to deal lots of damage, especially to those really high health units. You can see a max level Plasmancer there, able to deal a lot of damage, and they've got taunt on the field. And I put down Torgaradon here, which is not really the best choice, I think. I got 2 aggressors, which are more ranged units with barrage, so putting down 2 ranged units and 1 melee unit on the same turn is not really very good synergy. Once again, Morgai has the initiative, so he gets to take that first turn. He goes for the ranged attack. So a lot of damage from the Plasmancer, but it is blocked by the shield. I have Torgaradon at level 5, so he's got a triple shield. So I was able to take a fair beating, at least without taking any damage for the first little bit, but that precision shot also took out one of the shields, so he only has one remaining. Morgal deciding on which of his bodyguards to deploy next. And you can see the timer going off there. He's taking a little bit too much time. Level 11 Canoptek Spider. There is a legendary right there. The Overlord at max level. So that's a really big, inspiring presence. And I was debating whether or not to go with the ranged or melee. Ended up choosing the psychic option, just readying for a turn. Didn't really want to go melee against that Overlord. They had a mix of melee and ranged on the field, so either way I would have been taking a fair bit of damage, I think. And once again, it is his turn, and he ends up going for the ranged attack. 90 damage from the Plasmancer. It does get blocked by the shield, and I got a decent counterattack in from those barrage units. And I think this is where I decided to go for the melee attack. It's a decent amount of damage, but unfortunately not enough to even take down that Plasmancer. It remains with 6 health. And that was a really big counterattack, destroying both of the aggressors in one turn. But this allows me to get 2 hits in with Watch Captain Artemis's special rule. And you can see the random nature of it here. Now we don't actually want it hitting the Plasmancer because I was intending to finish it off with the Furious Charge there, but there it goes, and of course it hits. You know, Watch Captain Artemis, this is why I don't like his special rule, because you have no control over where that damage goes, and in this case, in this game, it just did a really poor job of choosing the targets. It was hitting the ones with less maximum health, or less health overall, and it just didn't really do a whole lot. So it is his turn, I think. Actually, hold on, is this right? Okay, and he decided to deploy the Warlord early on. Now, normally this is not something you do with Warlords, but with Zondrek he is special because it's impossible to deal damage to him the first time he deploys, because when he's about to take that first instance of damage, he just withdraws from the field and is replaced by his personal bodyguard Oberyn. There he is with the taunt. And so I was going for a melee attack, and a lot of it was absorbed by Oberyn. So now it's their turn. They have a decent amount of attack charged up because of that outflank. They're going for the melee attack, destroying my Assault Marine and Tor going down to the Overlord. Now I do have a Psyker in here. I did have Tigurius, who just got slightly nerfed in this season, and I'm thinking that maybe I should have deployed him a little bit earlier just to take advantage of the Necrom's lack of Psychic, but for some reason I did not do that. 47 damage going over to the Overlord there, and deploying my other barrage unit. And the damage takes down the Canoptek Spider. Once again, it would have been better if that damage from the special rule had hit the Overlord instead, but that was not the case, and it does survive yet another turn. So he's got 2 bodyguards remaining, and they are the big ones. So let's see, I think the first one he put down was the Void Dragon, if I'm not mistaken. And there it is, a max level Void Dragon, level 7. That thing has Big Game Hunter. Now the only big game I have in this deck is Tigurius, and he's not on the field. He does have a triple shield. And there is a big heal right there from Illuminor Xeris, who deployed. Guy has a whole lot of health as well. It is their turn. They go for the melee attack, dishing out a lot of damage, and at this point I knew that my fate was sealed. I think I knew that actually a lot earlier, but yeah, there is the Void Dragon. That's so much damage. And so I put down Tigurius. I had a little bit of a psychic attack charged up, but it's really not that much actually. 58 damage going to the Void Dragon, so you can see how much damage can be dealt with Artemis's special rule if it hits the right thing. But once again, unable to destroy the unit I needed, dead with the attack. The Overlord survives, and now they're able to go for a very powerful melee attack, destroying 2 of my bodyguards. Tiberius does counter attack and is able to finally take down the Warlord, or not the Overlord, I should say. And here comes Nemazor Zandrek for the second time, once again outflanking. So I did manage to get the Warlord on the field. That's an accomplishment, I suppose. And watch Captain Artemis going to the field. And I think I went with the Psychic attack, although at this point there's really no hope. It did do 40 damage there to Zandrek, so at least I did some damage to him. But look at how big of a ranged attack they have charged up. That is going to deal a whole lot of damage, and Zandrek also buffing his ranged units this turn with his special rule. So this is the end for Watch Captain Artemis. He goes down in 1 turn. And that is defeat number 3, knocking me out of this tournament. So, yeah, PvP is definitely a lot harder than playing against the AI, that is for sure. When you're playing against the AI, you sometimes get matched against ridiculous decks like this, but the AI acts in a very predictable way, and you're able to take advantage of that, and you can get a lot further. The games are much closer, but as you can see here, I did have quite a few misplays, things that I did poorly that resulted in a very bad defeat for myself, especially with that Snikrot game. That was the worst. Please do not do what I did with Snikrot there. Only able to destroy 2 bodyguards. But I did enjoy the tournament. It was quite a bit of fun, and it was all just just for fun, so that's the most important thing. It would be interesting to see how the other players are doing here, but let me know what you think of this tournament. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.